Megan Amigo, and thank you for watching my channel. We are going to be doing something today which I like to call conscious conversation. So we're just going to ask each other some questions and talk about the universe, about love, about perception, and anything that comes up we are just going to flow freely, and this is totally impulsive, not planned, no script or anything, so I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Tell me about your first spiritual experience, your journey, your awakening.
Well, I'm still definitely in the process of awakening. I was raised in a Christian home where, there was a lot of fundamentalism instilled. My parents are wonderful and I love them, but, it just wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and I always kind of felt that there was something more and outside and waiting. And so a good friend introduced me to Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth and the Power of Now, and so then I just kind of delved right in and absolutely loved it. And it just kind of opened my heart and opened my mind to the potentiality of there being something outside of just that tiny, tiny little thing that we all like to call God. And, each religion and each sect has their own little pinpoint that they think that it's right. And so just kind of opened my eyes to the expanse. So from your perspective, what is some tangible advice that you would give to people who are looking to open their hearts and minds to the more?
What I would say is just the fact that you are wanting to open up to something more is an amazing step, and just honoring that step that you're taking is the first part to opening the next door, to ascend further in your journey. And I would say, for me, I've had to learn something which many beings refer to as the art of allowance. So allowing that which is to be, and not trying to manipulate the external situation or trying to rearrange the circumstances that are happening, and to just realize that the only thing that you have the power over is you. So if you're on a mission of awakening and you're on this journey of ascension and opening up your heart and, maybe trying to open your mind but even silence your mind and really go into that inner knowing, if you're on that journey, it's important to not expect everyone else to be the same way as you. Because sometimes I know that's hard when you first come into this path and, you realize who you are, and that right now, the way you're living is kind of an insult to the way you can be. And so when you start to live in that way, it's kind of hard when the other beings around you don't mirror that which you believe in your heart or that which you feel. So what I would say is to not base your spiritual development or your evolution depending on the beings that are around you. So let's say, you say, oh, I'm enlightened, I'm having a positive feeling in my heart, I'm emanating love. Why am I interacting with people that are negative or that are questioning me? Well, my answer to that is it's a test. And it's a chance for you to see if you've truly changed. Because, as a beautiful being Bashar says, circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. So you can really tell if you've evolved or if you're actually changing when you're in a situation where there are beings who say don't understand you or are questioning you or are just going in a place that you don't want to go yourself. So by being able to stay true and in alignment with the essence of who you are, then when you can do that and still be in the midst of a negative situation where people are questioning you and you would have the impulse to react or respond in a negative way or match their energy of that low, dense frequency that really doesn't serve anybody. But when you can truly be present and you can be here 100% completely, and you can act in love and integrity and authenticity, then that is when you truly have begun your journey and you truly have opened up to the infinite and unlimited potential that this awakening experience has to offer you. Now, my question to her is, how do you feel about that which many beings call God or Source or infinite creation or divine consciousness or, the universe? my question to her is, how would you describe that essence? Because there's a different word for it, but essentially, it's all the same energy, right? So my question to her is, how does she feel about it, and how would she describe it, and how does she perceive it, and what does that source mean to her?
Okay, well, essentially, I was raised in a Christian home, and the view that I was raised with kind of put God, if we're going to call it that, in a very limited perspective. It was a little pinpoint, and only a tiny section of people would ever be able to really grasp it or understand it or come in contact with it. And just lately, my heart has been open to the idea that God is in everything and is everything. And it's not limited to, the man in the sky that has the beard and, is going around and beating people on the head who are doing things wrong. And maybe it's not even limited to one religion or one idea or one concept or one name or one image that we see. He or she or it just is, and it's the energy that's behind everything, the creative power that's harnessed in the beings that we see and interact with, and the forms that we see, and the colors, and the shapes, and the sounds, and the feelings, and everything that's around us. And to me, that is the source. And if you can tap into that fully, then it's this amazing vibrance and this feeling, and I want everyone to experience it. So earlier today we were talking about, how some people kind of emanate these negative vibes, and how other people emanate these positive and wonderful and vibrant vibes. And we were also talking about how each of us try and portray these positive energies to others around us. So how do you purposefully do that?
What I like to do, if I'm in a situation where there is a being or beings who are offering a vibration that is not a match to mine, meaning that their intention is not synonymous with my intention. And what I do, I know the instinctual response is to want to make a judgment of, why aren't you where I am? You should be here with me. You should be in a positive frequency. And that's the initial response that kind of comes up in the mind. But what I like to do is I like to silence any judgments, because I heard a beautiful being and a dear friend say that when you judge someone, you're limiting the potential that they have to be that which they truly are. So in judging someone, not only are you judging yourself, because essentially we are all, divine reflections of each other, and we're all aspects of one another. So that's what I try to not do, to not judge, to not limit. And then in doing that, I can just sort of go within and feel what it feels like to experience unconditional love. So if you want to equate that with, per se, if you're a female or a male even, looking at your newborn baby, and you look into that baby's eyes, and you have nothing but love for them, absolutely nothing. And in that exact moment, you would do anything for them, no matter what. And for me, that is the one way that I can see unconditional love and truly feel it, because even though I don't have a baby, I know what that feels like. I know what that would feel like. And so, if I'm in those types of situations where someone has a negative vibe or a negative energy or a negative intent or something, and they just, they just want to stay there and they don't really want to move, well, I can't go to that frequency. I can't go to their level, because that's not going to help them, and it's certainly not going to help me. So what I do is I go within my heart, and I feel all over my presence, in my body, in my heart, everywhere. I feel this unconditional love, and I just emanate that from the core essence of my being. And whether or not they can, on a verbal level express what they're experiencing, on an energetic level, they feel what I'm doing. And they can feel that support and that authentic expression. And within them, they feel kind of like a shift, and they may not even know it. But just by you or me being in that positive place of pure unconditional love and no judgment, you give them the opportunity to also see that that's a possibility, that they can also be like that. And so that's what I like to do. And I know you said to do something tangible, and I hope that that is tangible to just emanate that type of love from within you. But if it's not, something, that would be, per se, more on the pragmatic side or the intellectual side, is to just think a better feeling thought. So, if you haven't mastered silence in your mind yet, and, you still have the occasional thought come up that's like, whoa, where did this guy come from, what I would say is try to consciously choose your thinking. Choose your thoughts that you think would best serve you in this moment. So let's say I'm interacting with someone and they're just, really negative and not seeing the positive side. Whether or not I speak to them this positive thought, just holding it changes my frequency and allows me to climb up a ladder to a better feeling place rather than staying where they are. So yes, I'm doing it on a different level that's not being expressed, but I'm still, or you would still be taking yourself to a more loving and accepting place where you can actually see them for all that they are, and not just this clouded perception that they have of this moment, which they perceive to be negative. But when you get up to that better feeling place, just by having better thoughts, say, an example, I know who they really are, and I know that at their core, their essence is love. And I know that I am connected with them. And I know that I am here on this planet to serve and to help awaken. And I know that I love them. And I know that they love me, whether they say it or not. And I know that I have the power at any moment to feel however I want to feel, no matter what, always. And just in saying things like that, you remind yourself that you have the power. So don't give that power away to someone just because they're offering a negative frequency or a negative vibration. Hold on to your power and know that you have the power and the ability at any moment, any second, any time to choose how you want to feel. And why not choose to feel good? Okay, my question for Andrea is, how would you describe your essence? How would you describe that which is you, and not your personality, not this, as I said, this meat suit. I mean, it is a sacred vessel, but sometimes people identify with it too much. So how would she view her essence, and not the thought projections that people put on her, not the roles that she might feel she has to play for a certain person, or not the the thoughts that you have, or not the perception of yourself that you think you are, but how would she describe that being that she is? How would she describe her essence, in words or in however she chooses to express it?
Okay, well, for the longest time I was so identified with form, and not just my, my physical form, but how I was seen by others. How good of a daughter am I? How good are my grades? How good of a student am I? What grad schools will want me? How good am I at this or that or this, or how do others perceive me? And now I've finally, gotten to the point where I can feel myself within the me that I used to identify with. And I know we were talking about this earlier on the trip, but when I feel like my own essence, it's essentially like this warmth that sits like right in my core, and it just kind of emanates throughout me, and it's almost a feeling as if I've had caffeine, or or the feeling that when you're seeing someone that you are completely enamored with, and butterflies that are inside of you, and it's this like wonderful just energy that's inside of me, and that's like how I know like what I usually am. And and kind of what we were talking about earlier with our life energies, I typically see it as like a vibrant blue, but sometimes it's more of a white or a yellow or a gold, or but usually it's just like these nice, happy, fulfilling like feelings and colors, and it's almost it feels round, if that can make sense, without actually like being something. It just kind of is it's like a full round feeling that just sits within me, and that's just kind of how I know like what exactly I am without being all the other things.
That's so beautiful. So when you say round, do you mean like it's completely whole? Kind of?
Yeah, definitely. Like the roundness kind of, it goes with everything. Like it feels smooth, but it also represents a wholeness that's inside of me. And sometimes I'll still lose myself and, the outside areas of life, and sometimes it's still hard to combat those things. But, when that like feeling just is inside of me, then I know that I am complete, and it's just a beautiful feeling and a collaboration with the source and with myself and with the energy that just goes back and forth and transcends all of these things that we, find ourselves identifying with on a daily basis, and, what so many people are identified with. And if we can all just, like tap into our inner life source and be able to feel that, then, it would just bring like such positivity to the world and relationships. And
Hi, and thank you for watching my channel.
what kind of a channel is that?
One of us falls flat on our face.
Good intro, girls.